Hey guys, Anthony here, Bibles and Barbells. It is Saturday, December 12th, 2020. I wanted to make this video today and discuss a few things that have been on my mind. Back in December of 2019, putting on my reading glasses so I could see the screen here, and I have some notes here as well. I want to make sure I touch on some of these topics. Back in December 2019, I did a video. I can't remember the name of it. I'll put it in the link in this video. It was more or less a Bible study, and it was during that study I had made comments that 2020 was going to be a devastating, I think I mentioned a bloody year. I forget the exact wording. But I did not foresee 2020 being good. Something was telling me in my spirit that 2020 was going to be a turning point year, a horrendous year. I'm not claiming to have prophetic dreams like some people have on YouTube. I am telling you can watch the video, and towards the end of that video I talk about that. I talk about 2020. And so shortly thereafter, what happens is my wife, those of you who don't know, needed to get 6 weeks worth of radiation to her brain for a inoperable tumor last year, or earlier this year. And we scheduled it for March. So we went from here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, and we drove down to the Virginia and also the DC area. Her hospital, Sibley Memorial Hospital, part of Johns Hopkins, is located just outside of, it's right on the outskirts. It's actually in Washington, DC. And so we go there. At first we had a hotel. I'm just giving you some background of 2020 for me and how it affected me. So we checked into a hotel in Virginia, just outside of DC. It was less than a half hour. If you didn't hit traffic, it was about a less than a half hour drive to Sibley Memorial Hospital. Not that difficult of a drive. So we check into this hotel. It had, food. They served this particular hotel. My wife negotiated us to, I think we were getting breakfast and breakfast and dinners. They had not a full dinner, but they had food down in the lobby. And so we thought, it was we checked in. We had the dogs with us initially. We brought them. The hotel let us have the dogs with us. So I wanted to keep everything as close to our home life as possible. So we get to the hotel, and I forget the exact date. It was early March. And while we were in the hotel, the lockdowns happened. And if you go back on my videos to March, to the time that the pandemic broke out, you'll see I did live videos from the hotel room, and I did several other videos from the hotel room depicting what we were going through, what I was doing to procure food. I got nervous because we were away from home. And we were in the hotel was adjacent to a big plaza, a shopping plaza. And I went several times. I think I spent about $500 just acquiring food for the hotel room because I didn't know what was going to happen. Right after the pandemic, right after the lockdowns, the hotel went from very good service to hardly any service. The meals stopped. The morning meals, the evening meals, 4 days a week, stopped. Housekeeping crew was either let go or cut in half. I'm not sure what happened there, but they sent people home. The lady that booked our rooms, who we saw every day, the broker in the lobby, they sent her. She lost her job essentially, so she wasn't there. The second day into the lockdown, the hotel had a big leak in the lobby. There was water in the lobby all over the floor. So I think we stayed just about a week, about probably 5 days in the hotel. And I started getting really strong feelings that, hey, we need to we need to check out of this hotel and find alternate means of what we're going to do for the next 6 weeks, because my wife was going through the radiation treatment and she had to finish. So I had to, no matter what was going on, we had to finish those treatments. So long story short, I ended up taking the dogs home to Charlotte, dropped them off, drove back to the Virginia area. We checked out of the hotel and we ended up staying the remainder of the 5+ weeks in downtown DC during the lockdowns. So we had a note from Sibley Memorial, from Johns Hopkins, in case we got stopped by the police or whoever, that we had the right, or we could be out during certain hours or certain times, because my wife had to go back and forth every day at a certain time for these treatments that lasted, the actual treatment lasted less than a half hour. But by the time you get up in the morning, get ready, get to the hospital, park, I was able to go in with her probably the first 2 weeks and wait in the waiting room. After that, everything locked down. I had to stay in the parking garage and wait in the car. And you'll see on my YouTube videos during that time period in March and early April that I was doing videos from the car in the parking garage. You'll see the videos. They're kind of dark, and I'm sitting in the car during those videos, and that's the reason. I was waiting for her to get done with her treatment. So we went through this pandemic not like I normally would have envisioned it at home, where I had control over my environment, had my preps close to me. We happened to be far away from home with a medical crisis during the pandemic. So, and then stuck in DC, which was not the best place to be. Guys, you know that what gun laws are there, what it's like to defend yourself in DC. So just think what was going through my head. Somebody that's always armed, always carrying, always ready. My motto is stay ready on my channel. And so just think what was going through my head during that lockdown. Now, being in DC. So I don't want to get in too much detail about how I travel. I make extensive plans when I travel from my home base to wherever I'm going. And so I'll just put it this way, that I was amply prepared for any occurrence of mayhem or whatever would have taken place in the DC area. Was I 100% satisfied with what I could have access to? No, but it would have been a big surprise to the criminals on my response to them if something did go down. Luckily, nothing did go down. What I'm trying to get at is, in your preparations, in your, we're as law-abiding citizens, we're grilled into, we have to follow the law, we have to listen to what the government says, we have to do this, we have to do that, we have to be good citizens. And yeah, to a point that is a fact. I do condone that, and I'm not condoning breaking the law. I will tell you that the safety of me and my family, my loved ones, etc., come first before any gun laws or draconian edicts that the government will pass down. So let's just say it like that, okay? I'm not telling you to go out and break the law. I'm telling you what I do, what I did and what I do, what my philosophy is. And so, so that was a huge strain on both my wife, of course, more on her than me, because she was going through the treatments. So got back in late April to home base, and I immediately started to put things into place at a fast pace. I moved around monies that I had invested in paper assets. I quickly started investing in gold and silver assets, tangible assets that I held, not gold and silver ETFs or stocks, but physical assets. And so shifted uh, my portfolio, if you will, thinking ahead that hard economic times were coming, the dollar may collapse, things may change in the country. What do I need to preserve my wealth? And it was through my belief, it was through gold and silver, tangible bullion, that I would preserve some of my wealth and then also have some ample amounts of cash that I could get right away and not have to, rely on a 401k and all that. So I put things into place. I began purchasing more food and water preps, purchased another filter system, a Lifesaver filter system. I have videos on all this. So I'm just telling you that I ramped up very quickly to what I was doing and had planned, and I put it into warp speed. Not to steal a phrase from the warp speed of the vaccine that's coming out soon. And I put things into place where I increased food, water, medical, defenses, weaponry, ammunition, red dot scopes. You've seen some videos that I have posted. Things like making sure I could respond to a quick threat that comes my way or to my neighborhood. Something like a battle belt that I've had built for a while, that I could grab my rifle, my pistol goes in here. It's a Glock 17, and everything is on here. The medical kit is a Dark Angel medical kit. There's the knife, okay. 2 magazines, an AR and a Glock, a tourniquet, chem light, a flashlight, and a collapsible baton. Okay, so having something like this ready to go was a priority for me because I saw what was coming down the pike, especially when the riots started and everything else started. So this pandemic for me and us, my wife and I, has been very stressful. And I'm not saying I'm more stressed than others. Others have had it far worse. They lost loved ones. They're in areas of the country where you have lawless, let's just call them lawless, governors and mayors and city council members and state representatives that are lawless. They're not Americans. They're lawless ones. Okay? Let's just call it what it is. And we're seeing that played out more and more. And so we see these lawless government officials on every level of government clamping down on the people and letting lawlessness rule the day in their cities, on the states where they live. And so we're seeing that to continue through today with nothing being done against it. But yet we see a gentleman or an owner in Staten Island, I believe, Max House. It's like a burger place, food place, and a bar that's defying the mayor, de Blasio, the communist mayor de Blasio in New York, my home state. And we're seeing that ramp up now, but we see the police or the sheriff that were brought in, and we see a totally different response from law enforcement than we do the response from law enforcement, the lawless ones that are burning down cities, creating autonomous zones, burning down precincts with police in them, stopping traffic, abusing people, threatening. They're treated with kid gloves, but a gentleman that wants to keep his restaurant open so he could stay alive and feed his family gets treated like a lawless criminal, gets arrested and paraded around the city because of a communist mayor that wants to prove a point, that wants to show he has the power. Okay, so that's the world that we're living in right now. And to keep up with this, we're seeing now warp speed vaccine being fostered upon us. I think just today I saw an article that the Pfizer vaccine was approved for millions and millions of doses in the United States. So that's going to roll out in the days and weeks ahead, what's left of December and into the new year. So look for that to roll out. I'll have more videos on that, my thoughts on the vaccine to this pandemic that's been fostered upon us and the whole world. So what I want to do in this video today, obviously, is talk a little bit about the background that I went through. Like I just mentioned, I have videos chronicling that, and this global reset that the World Economic Forum is talking about. If you just have half a brain, you could go on the World Economic Forum's website. You've probably seen video clips, maybe or maybe not. Maybe you're not interested, but I highly recommend that you pay attention to people like Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum and others like him that are speaking about this global reset and how I believe that this pandemic was used as a cover for this global reset, and what's happening now is never going to stop, is what I'm saying. The prediction that I made in late 2019 about 2020, I'm making again this December 2020, that 2021 may be even worse than 2020, my prediction. Because there's so many things coming together and taking this global technocracy to the next level, okay? And now with the election over and the fight that Donald Trump is giving to show of the improprieties or the voting irregularities that allegedly happened. Again, I won't get into too much on that because YouTube's deleting videos on that, but I could tell you, no matter who is president, whether it's the Trump administration or the new Biden administration going forward, this world agenda will still carry forth. The forces that run the world don't care whether Donald Trump or Joe Biden, maybe one or the other might make it a little easier for them, but either way, they control the situation. Okay, so presidents are selected, they're not elected. Let's leave it at that. And some of the video recommendations I'm going to give you and ask you to watch will show you that that does not matter. All presidents, just a fact, from George Washington through Donald Trump, are related in one way, shape, or form. Trump is related to Hillary Clinton. They're like the 17th cousins. So every president, and that's not just something that happened. That was something that is planned. So this world system that you see me talking about in my Bible studies filters over into regular everyday life, whether you're religious or not. Okay? So whether you have belief in the Bible and God and Jesus, it doesn't matter, because this world system is going forth no matter what. The Bible talks about it, of course, and those of us that are believers should not be caught by surprise. In fact, we should be coming out of churches and congregations that deny this is going on. Let's put it that way. Revelation 18 talks about, come out of her, my people, come out of Babylon, come out of this beast system and worship in spirit and truth. That's what you need to be doing as a believer. Doesn't matter if it might be a hard decision to leave your church or your synagogue or whatever, but come out of her, my people, is something that should be reverberating in your head. As a nation, we stand, my prediction is we'll never be the same. We're going to change at warp speed. I keep using that term. People that say, oh, we have the Second Amendment, that protects the constitutional republic, that protects our rights, First Amendment, Second. Listen, amendments, Constitution, Declaration of Independence have no place in the future world government. It will go away at some point. I hate to break the news to everybody, but we will lose. Those rights will be legislated out. Another crisis happens. They'll be warp speeded out of our system, and the history will be taught from there moving forward. What about gun rights? We're going to lose our gun rights at some point. I'm not going to make a prediction when. I'm not going to make a prediction how they're going to do it. People envision this coming and knocking on your door and taking your guns, and I'll fight and I'll shoot anybody that comes to my house. No, you won't. They'll be sending the military. They'll be sending many law enforcement with backup and drones and what have you. You won't be able to fight back with your battle rifle or your handgun or etc. You'll have to have made plans prior to fight another day. That's just how it's going to be. And the way I see it or predict it is that they won't even have to come to your house to take your guns away. The way this is going with the pandemic and the quarantining and the carriers of diseases and viruses, they could essentially separate you and me from our guns by taking you and me away for quarantine. You understand what I'm saying? So your guns can stay put. You'll be gone. And they'll come back later and get your guns when they take over your property while you're not there. So think about that this year as the vaccine rolls out, as decisions will have to be made if you're going to opt into this globalist system or if you're going to opt out. If you're going to opt out, like I am opting out, it means very difficult decisions ahead. Work, leisure, marriage, family. What are other members of your family thinking? What are they going to do? What do they want to do? What are their thoughts on the vaccine? What are their thoughts on this? A lot of people still think that, oh, if we just wear our masks a little while longer, everything's going to go away and we're going to be back the way it was prior to the pandemic. No, it's never going to be the same. In fact, it's moving forward to the next steps on their rung of world-changing technocracy, another fourth industrial revolution, a fourth industrial revolution being ushered in, the Green New Deal, Agenda 21, Agenda 30, just do your research. It's written in plain language. Now, some good channels that make it their business to research this stuff every day and put out content on it are some channels that I strongly recommend you subscribing to and watching. One of them is named the Ice Age Farmer. I believe he's out of California. His name is Christian. He's doing a lot of videos now, his latest ones on this the food crisis that's coming, the soybean shortages, the cyber pandemics. One just hit. To just give you an example, Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum talked about a coming cyber pandemic that'll make the COVID-19 pandemic look like nothing in the devastating effect that it has on the world. And so just about 2 weeks ago, a company called Americold, they're a distributor of frozen foods, refrigerated foods, one of the biggest, I think, in the world. And so Americold, their systems were attacked by a cyber attack. And so Ice Age Farmer did a video on it. I'm in a chat group with a bunch of family members that we go back and forth with texting and update each other on information and debate one another and argue and whatever. So I had sent them that video, and one of my cousins watched it. He lives in most of my cousins are still in New York. They happen to own, one of them happens to own a large pastry business, Italian pastry business, very big business with several stores and also a distribution hub that ships, cannoli cream and cookies and stuff around the country. And so he corroborated with the Americold cyber attack, saying that when that hit 2 weeks ago, it screwed up all their orders. They lost a ton of business. Shipments weren't made. The movement of goods from Americold warehouses onto trucks and to end users, supermarkets, stores like my cousin's, had stopped. It ceased. So they believe, Ice Age Farmer talked about, it might have been a test of the system of a cyber attack on the effects it would have on the distribution hub of getting food from one spot to the next. And so think about a massive cyber attack on multiple systems in our country. It doesn't mean that we don't have, it may not mean the food is not being produced. It may mean it can't be delivered. And if the food can't be delivered because of coordination of systems that have to come into play to get that food from warehouses to trucks to end users, and that breaks down, well, you know what happens then. 3 days is the number. The shelves empty out in the supermarkets and the Walmarts and the Targets and people that have food, and all hell breaks loose. So that was just an example that I gave to our email group that the Ice Age Farmer talked about. And today he goes into a lot more detail on the soybean. China is buying soybean to feed and other items around the world to feed their people. They're buying it from us, from Brazil, from everywhere. But we're having trouble even coming up with it because of weather-related issues and crop-related issues. There's just so much going on with the food chain that it warrants you doing your research. So Ice Age Farmer is a good channel, I believe, to keep you abreast on that and to maybe put it in the back of your head that, hey, when I go to the store, maybe I need to buy an extra 20-pound bag of rice and add it to my preps. Maybe I need to buy a dozen, a case of canned beans and soups, whatever. Do it now so you can get by when the crisis hits, when this cyber pandemic hits, if it hits in the coming new year. They're telling you what they're planning. They told us what they were planning at Event 201 with the COVID-19 test run all the while it broke out right after that. So if these guys are on the World Economic Forum telling you what's coming next, my itchy ears would be listening to what they're saying and then get ready for their next move. It's like a chess game. Eventually their goal is to take over the world, control us, corral us, whatever, change the way we think, change the way we eat, what's in our foods, what's called food. A lot of things are on the table and people are not paying attention. You have to pay attention. Next channel I would recommend that you watch, and he does a fantastic job. He's out of Ireland. His channel is called Computing Forever. Very good videos, very good guests on his show and his last several videos that you'll see. Computing Forever. Another good one that I subscribe to and that I also subscribe to their weekly magazine that comes out electronically is Gerald Celente. He does a great job at forecasting things that are going to happen down the road. He's usually right on the money. They do their research. They're not affiliated, Democrats, Republicans. He's totally apolitical, and he does a very good job putting together each week very important financial articles that will impact you, things going on with the disease and the pandemic and the vaccines and true science behind it, and showing you how these people are speaking out of both sides of their mouth, these leaders. So Gerald Celente's channel does a great job, and his Trends Journal, which is around $115 a year, I think, is highly worth it. It comes to your computer via email every Tuesday. Another person that I would suggest that you research their videos is a pastor named Walter Veith, Veith. I think if you do a YouTube search on his name, you'll see a lot of videos come up. He does a lot of good videos connecting these world leaders or the new world order biblically, number one. Number two, showing you how the video I watched today, how the Jesuits control the new world order. They run both sides of the fence. They play good cop, they play bad cop. And it talks about how Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are related and how it didn't matter. Each one of those people, leaders, are beholden to the Jesuits. So it just shows you how entrenched we are in warfare, spiritual warfare. And Walter Veith will give you a pretty good understanding. He's super knowledgeable on